As I was scrolling on social media last night, something caught my attention, and it was the fact that media offices and media buildings were being targeted in Gaza. And you can clearly see October 7th, there's the date right there. Here's the video footage that came up about this entire media explosion. This looks, again, like a controlled demolition, which I talked about yesterday, if you want to go to my page and see that. But lucky for me, they left the media headline right here. So all I did to fact check this was put this headline into Google, okay? And here it is, how Israel bombed a Gaza media tower. Again, why are we targeting the media towers? That's the part that caught my attention to begin with. But then look over here at the date. The 15th of May of 2021. Why are we reusing footage from an old demolition and saying that it's from this war? Now maybe this up here could explain something like that, but this is the tower from this news article. So seeing all the fireworks and controlled demolitions from yesterday, what do you guys think about all of this? Let me know down below.
I want to warn the United States and their President Joe Biden. If you continue to interfere in the affairs of Taiwan, which are our responsibility, we will have to take the initiative and respond with greater firmness, including taking a stance in support of Russia, which is experiencing your injustices.
Right now, we are seeing the clearest signs yet that the United States and China and Russia are headed for a hot war. 3 huge pieces of news that are, frankly, scary as hell, that are being done in relative secrecy, and we should all be paying attention to. We'll get into these news items in a moment, but first, here's Forbes magazine. This week, is the U.S. headed for an all-out war with China? And they're asking this question because we are at a tipping point moment, and some very dangerous things are unfolding. And by the way, make no mistake about it, a war with China and Russia would be an absolute catastrophe, because at worst, it would end humanity with a nuclear war, and at best, it would send us back into the dark ages. No electrical grids, no internet, no functioning satellites, basically. And these morons in Washington, D.C. seemed hell-bent on making this happen. Back in January, something happened that got almost no media attention. It was done quietly, in Japan even. The Japanese government started paying fishermen to stay away from one particular small island that was close to China. Here's what happened.
Japan's defense ministry began construction of a new base on Mageshima, an island in southwestern Japan, on January 12. Ministry staff and construction workers took a boat to the uninhabited island. The base will also be used by the U.S. military for training.
Oh, the U.S. is coming. According to the Japan Times, the U.S. just took a huge leap closer to China's doorstep. Instead of doing military drills 1,000 miles away on that other island, now they can do them straight up China's ass without having to use mid-air refueling to do it. That was 9 months ago. Then, as we reported this week, the Biden administration is laying the groundwork for bringing back the military draft for young men in the United States. That's right. This is not a fantasy. According to the documents from the U.S. Army War College's plan, they predict that the United States will lose 3,600 soldiers per day in casualties when we start fighting China and Russia. And they say we need the draft now because we won't be able to replace those kinds of numbers without it. Taking 3,600 people per day and throwing them into the meat grinder. They admit this right in black and white, right in their documents. And members of Congress are calling for it. Everything that we're seeing over the past few weeks is coming to a boiling point. It all started in earnest, though, over 10 years ago during the Obama administration in an effort to strangle China. Of course, it goes back much longer than that.
We can see that China is the basic cause of all of our troubles in Asia.
But it really ramped up under Obama in 2015, when it was clear that China would become America's biggest economic and strategic threat. When China announced its Belt and Road Initiative, its partnership with the Middle East, with the rest of Asia, to build roads and bridges and trade, Obama then went into high gear. Journalist John Pilger even predicted it and documented it in his amazing documentary, The Coming War on China, where he shows how America's goal is to cut off China's lifeline to oil, gas, and raw materials, strangling China economically, while at the same time surrounding China militarily, building over 400 military bases surrounding China.
We need an enemy for all this money, and China's the perfect enemy.
I pity a country that would come up against us. We get better and better and better.
China's economy is slowing rapidly, thanks in part to U.S. sanctions. It's all going according to their plan. And China is getting desperate. And remember, desperate people do desperate things. Do you believe for a second, by the way, that China's going to sit back and take this? Of course not. If you listen to the neocons in Washington, it's China that's provoking the United States. And the United States building military bases on China's doorstep can lead to regime change, an overthrow of Xi Jinping and the installation of democracy. Here's neocon warmonger Bill Kristol.
A willingness to intervene to seek regime change is key to an American foreign policy that benefits America. I think this is correct. I think I would notice that it says a willingness to intervene. Doesn't mean you have to intervene everywhere. It doesn't mean there haven't been ill-advised interventions, but a willingness to intervene, which implies defense treaties, commitments to allies, forward basing of troops, probably, all the characteristics of the post-1945 post-war order.
What neocons are so concerned about is what China just did. Beijing just released a new map of the territorial waters and the territory that it claims to own. This new line of territorial land and waters could be seen as the natural response to being surrounded by U.S. military bases and being sanctioned into a recession, a big chess move by China. The U.S., though, is pissed about it, as you can imagine. We heard this week from the Pentagon, how could China possibly lay claim to waters that are fished by the Philippines? Neocons are pissed.
Beijing released a new map of the waters and territories it claims as its own. This document, dubbed the -10 line, is the most aggressive one yet. As in previous such exercises, China says most of the South China Sea, a critical international waterway, belongs to it. It's not just maps that are worrisome here. China's overtly aggressive actions in this region continue. Freedom of the seas has been a core U.S. principle for over 200 years. China is challenging that fundamental part of our security foundation.
China pushing for war? Really? Meanwhile, some experts believe what the U.S. greenlit this week could bring us closer to war than ever before. The U.S. just announced a massive new military replicator drone program aimed squarely at China. Now, Kathleen Hicks from the Defense Department says China has too many ships, and they can make them faster than we can. We can't keep up. So here's what we'll do instead. We're going to go small, make a cloud of cheap attack drones that will hover over China's coast. And then we can attack their large ships faster than ever before. So that happened during the same week the Biden administration started labeling China as our biggest threat publicly. Clown Antony Blinken was out there in an interview, said China wants to dominate the world. We need to be prepared. And he pointed to the Pentagon's recent report that names China as the top threat to the United States. Not Russia or Al-Qaeda. No, it's China. And then suddenly this week, out of the blue, the Biden administration suddenly recognized the sovereignty of 2 Pacific islands and said, yep, we now recognize you as your own countries, the Cook Islands and the Niue Island. Now, the Biden administration has deemed you to be sovereign nations. It's like being crowned or knighted, by a king. Can we now build military bases on you, pretty please? We just gave you sovereignty, basically. Can we build there, please? You can't make this up. That's exactly what happened. We give you nationhood, and we want to build military bases there. Of course, all of this is coming to a head over Taiwan. The United States sending military equipment to Taiwan is not going to fly. China at the United Nations this week said, do not underestimate us and our willingness to take over Taiwan, which, of course, is their own land to begin with. And the United States even recognizes the one China policy. China this week sent military vessels surrounding Taiwan. They sent 9 aircraft, 5 vessels, in a show of huge military force on the island. It was a message. Don't even try it. So we are in a tipping point moment right now. Is a war coming to the Pacific? And what happens next will determine who is the leader of the new world order. Will it be the United States in a continued role, or will it be China? Let me know in the comments below what you think.
You know anything about that? What can you report at this stage? All right. Yumna, please take cover. If you are in a position to do so safely, you can explain to us what we're happening. If you are not in a position to do so safely,
Yes.
then please get to safety.
No, it's okay. This is a missile attack on Palestine Tower, right in the middle of Gaza City.
We survived September 23rd, and it appears as though none of us turned to zombies on October 4th. But when you hear about what scientists recently discovered deep in the heart of the Atlantic, you just may never be able to sleep again. On October 4th, a team of 20 scientists in the heart of the Milwaukee Deep at 5.373 miles below sea level discovered conclusive and irrefutable evidence that you are and will always be a hoe.
Celebrities know their time is up.
The poles have shifted already. And when the poles shift, everything in the matrix is just a it's a new color, it's a new taste, it's the new smell, it's a new feeling, and the rules change.
Took office, there were a lot of folks out there making some pretty bold predictions about how things would turn out. You might remember some of the predictions.
They're coming for your guns, they're coming for your jobs, and they're coming for your freedom. They hate American energy, and Joe Biden will shut it all down. He's going to.
That if I became president,
Biden's elected, he will wipe out your energy industry.
Another prediction. That is my favorite one, I must add, is that if I got elected,
gas prices going $5, $6, $7 for a gallon. Flood your communities with criminal aliens, drugs, and crime while they live behind beautiful gated compounds. Spend trillions of dollars rebuilding foreign nations, fighting foreign wars, and defending foreign borders.
So for all those predictions of doom and gloom, here's where we stand.
Do you want to use the word recession or depression? But if Biden wins, your borders are gone, the middle class is gone, your safety is gone.
If your primary concern right now is inflation,
we could stop it in 30 minutes.
When I took office,
he finally went outside, he went to get an ice cream. And you know Biden, he can't stand up to the lunatics running his party. I say you're not doing a very good job. Because he can't take any questions now from the press.
Let's talk about the World War III news.
מטילים מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה. אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם ואנחנו נוהגים ב...
So not only did Israel declare war, but they're sending 100,000 troops near Gaza. They are calling for a complete blockade, pause of fuel, water, electricity, or anything to Gaza. There are still missiles and rockets being launched from Gaza, but also, the Lebanon is also on high alert as well, as Israel's moving tanks and military to their border as well. Russia also hit Israel with a cyber attack as well. So Israel's really just getting hit from all sides at this moment. Here's the streets of Gaza. Things are just in chaos. Here's some more hits. Here's some more attacks on Gaza. You can just see how massive these attacks are. Now, what about the Ukraine war? What does Ukraine have to say about this? Well, Zelensky is saying that the Hamas and Russia are the same evil. And it almost sounds like he's calling up a world war. Look at this.
To withdraw from the international arena into internal disputes. This is not the time to isolate ourselves. This is not the time to remain silent or pretend that terror on one continent does not affect global affairs. Everyone can help prevent the chasm between the war and peace from widening. Europe should be active. The United States should be active. China, India, Arab states should feel how much can collapse if they allow terrorists to achieve their goals. Turkey, Brazil, and all of Latin America, Japan, Australia, Canada, African countries, Central Asian countries, Korea, Pakistan, Indonesia, the Caribbean, the Pacific states, everyone should be active in the defense of life and international law.
Oh, everyone is active. China's actively after Taiwan. North Korea is actively after South Korea. Russia's actively at Ukraine. And then we have Iran, who's going to probably get involved in this Israel shit. And as you can see, all these guys are tied together. I mean, this is the big link right now. Zelensky was giving a speech at the UN, so just showing y'all that he actually gave the speech there. That's why I said, oh, sounds like he's calling up for a world war. Oh, by the way, Rishi Sunak said he's also going to give support to Israel as well, as far as intelligence and military equipment. They will probably step into the war too. A NATO website is saying to prepare for nuclear war against Russia. They published a statement by a former Pentagon official to prepare for a nuclear war with Russia, just out of nowhere. Why would they put that on their website? As it's saying that Russia's preparing for a standoff with NATO in the Arctic. Saying that the standoff will be with the new NATO member Finland, of all countries. And now Russia moved their Black Sea fleet closer to their main territory, so they're trying to bait Ukraine into hitting that territory so that they can justify attacks on NATO assets. Considering that Ukraine is using the French Scout missiles to hit those targets, or the Storm Shadow missiles from the UK. So this would justify a full-blown war between NATO and Russia. Taiwan is preparing for a very hard battle with China, saying they're preparing their people for asymmetric fight and urban warfare. Oh, I meant to tell you guys, the Russian hackers actually declared war on Israel. Welcome to World War III.
Wait, humans actually originated from another planet?
Evidence that Earth is actually what some call a prison planet. In his book, Humans Are Not From Earth, Dr. Ellis Silver contends that humans are actually from another planet. They were brought here thousands of years ago and mated with Neanderthals. The hybrid species is us.
My thesis proposes that mankind did not evolve from native Earth organisms, but evolved elsewhere and was transported to Earth between 60,000 and 200,000 years ago. Mankind is supposedly the most highly developed species on the planet, yet is surprisingly unsuited and ill-equipped for Earth's environment.
The idea that extraterrestrials played a role in human history is also known as intervention theory. Dr. Silver argues that if humans actually evolved on Earth, we'd be much more comfortable with the environment. For example, humans are really the only animals that are susceptible to sunburn. Fish, reptiles, birds all have natural ultraviolet protection in their scales and feathers. Whales and dolphins have special skin cells that repair DNA damaged by UV radiation. Any mammal with fur is protected from ultraviolet rays, including apes. If we evolved from apes, why did we lose our hair? Evolution is supposed to make us stronger, not weaker.
By the way, this video is scripted and for entertainment purposes only. Stay weird.
Feel it coming in the air, hear the screams from everywhere. I'm addicted.
A series of videos of people vanishing mysteriously out of thin air are going viral all over social media and people are freaking out about it. I'm gonna show you guys a couple of these videos. Check this out.
Hey, you kids, step forward, please. Facing forward, thank you. That's what I like. okay? Kids!
Well, bus driver proceeds to check the bus. Nowhere to be found, no one to be found. Nothing there.
Listen, the bus, the
He calls the
kids,
police, and then this happens.
driving down the street, I look up, and they're gone. It was just vanished. I couldn't believe it.
Okay, cut the bull. This will go a lot easier. What did you do with
There's
them?
no accident here, okay? Look around the bus. There's
Slow down. Slow down.
Okay.
Slow down. I know you didn't get in an accident. You just told me that.
Okay.
The kids are gone.
They're gone. I don't know where they went.
How many kids total?
45.
Hello? Hello, police? Anyone on the bus? Hello? Is anyone on the bus?
Police officer proceeds to check the bus. No one there. Then this video goes viral.
Plow into a tree. Now there's this crazy school bus driver. He's freaking out. He claims the kids on his bus just vanished. There it is. He's freaking out.
In this next video, a police officer captures a similar event on camera.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm just speeding, wasn't I?
Yeah, you completely blew past that stop sign in front of me.
I did. I'm so sorry. I literally didn't even see it.
No
this
worries.
is my first time being pulled over.
All right. Can I see your driver's license registration, please?
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Here's my license, but this is my mom's car, so.
Where are you headed to? You're speeding and missing stop signs.
I was just headed to a friend's house. It's like literally right there. It's a birthday party. So,
Got it.
Not mine, but.
Any drugs or alcohol in the vehicle?
No, of course not.
All right. Sit tight, sir. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Your registration is What the?
Sarah?
What the heck? Sarah? 3201 to dispatch.
What's going on here? And now this.
Freaking out. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. What happened? Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, I don't know. I have no clue what's happening. There's people screaming. Sorry about that. I guess people like disappeared or something. The cops just showed up. This doesn't even feel real. I have no idea what's going on right now. Everyone's freaking out. I'm freaking.
Well, I started researching the topic and I found out that most of these videos are coming from a page called Dr. David Jeremiah, and it's actually a marketing campaign, a very smart one, for a movie called The Great Disappearance that talks about the rapture. But even so, a lot of TikTok pages and YouTube channels are propagating this as the real deal. But even so, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about the rapture? Is it about to happen? Does it have anything to do with aliens or whatever? I want to know your thoughts.
I'm gonna show y'all something, man. This shit crazy, right? You know how y'all be going to McDonald's and Wendy's and shit, eating chicken nuggets and chicken sandwiches? Well, I'm gonna show you how they make this shit. Alright. Mechanically separated chicken. Now watch this. This is chicken nuggets and chicken sandwiches and shit, man. That's what they make that shit with. Y'all please share this shit, man. This shit is
Would you eat that now?
Even though this little brown bottle is found in the medicine aisle, its uses go far beyond that. Swishing around 1 tablespoon of the stuff will kill any unhealthy organisms in your mouth, banishing bad breath and even speeding up the healing of canker sores. And since it acts like a bleaching agent, it will also whiten your teeth. Just swish for 30 seconds and you'll see immediate results.
We'll be right back.